8:34 is the time. It's AM 650 KGAB Radio. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. Sitting in the studio with me is candidate for Governor Rex Rammel, who's running on the Constitution Party ticket in the state of Wyoming. So while I'm asking questions, and I got a lot to ask Rex in the next couple of minutes, you can ask questions too. 632-6500 is the phone number. That's 632-6500. At any time you can interrupt us. How the hell have you been, Rex? Where have you been?
I've been all over the state.
Yeah, okay. Now, look, last time I talked to a candidate for governor about driving all over the state, actually it was Taylor Haynes. Last time he ran, not this time.
Yeah.
And he went into this long bit with me about how we had to get a whole new set of tires and alignment and things like that. So you going through that?
I think if I win this race, the state of Wyoming owes me a new truck.
Yeah, a whole new truck.
A whole new truck.
Now, one of the things that, because I've been getting Facebook messages, emails and some calls from people. So whatever happened to Rex Rammel? And my first thought was, well, when I listen to the other candidates, they're running ads right now. And that makes me think, well, okay, I know it's very expensive to run for governor. So have you not been able to buy ads, or what? Where have you been? Because we haven't really seen you visible.
Well, that's part of our strategy, and they're going to be coming out here shortly.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so, saving the ads for when it really matters.
Well, and part of the strategy last time we talked, I wondered how you're going to get the infrastructure going, because the Constitution Party, for those who don't know, you were on the Republican ticket, but you stepped aside to see what would happen. Yep. And then after Mark Gordon won it, you said, okay, we want a conservative, so the Constitution Party picked you up. Now, you were saying on this show, you were thinking about going to the other candidates who had been running to get that nomination and asking about financing and infrastructure from them. Yep. How did that work out?
Well, that also is, should I say, privileged information. Okay. Inside information.
Inside information.
Yeah. We've got a lot of support out there all across Wyoming.
Yeah.
And I wish I could spend more time in Cheyenne. I'm here for the debate tomorrow.
Okay.
CBS is going to have that debate on at, I believe, 5:30. They'll be able to hear from all of the candidates. I guess just the 4 candidates are going to be in the room. No staff.
Right.
And then I got a town hall tonight at the library from 4 to 6. But it's a big state, and a lot of my supporters are all over the state in the rural areas. So that's where I've been building support, building the team. We've got some big plans coming up here shortly.
Okay, now there's the thing. There's a messaging. Well, first off, this is going to drive me nuts. Take your sign and go just a little bit more that way with it to get it right into. He's got this really nice T-Rex sign. Yeah. It's a little bit more. Just a little bit more that way, and there. Now everybody can see. You're not blocking any of it right there.
Okay.
Which actually, I kind of get a kick out of the whole T-Rex thing.
Yeah.
And he's got a T-Rex on there, so T-Rex for governor. So there's the thing. It's messaging has got getting out there. We just got done talking about that. So you got to make sure to become visible, and you got plans for that.
Yep.
But you always have to have, with a political campaign, the message. There's got to be something that resonates with people.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
What did you single out at this point?
Well, I've still stayed strong on the public land transfer. And the state bank. People really like the idea of the state bank. And then the third big thing that we're running on is auditing the entire state government.
Transparency is a huge one in this thing. Yeah. Okay. So as governor, what would you do different on transparency?
Well, I need to have everything opened up to me, which we will open up to the public.
Okay.
But on day one, I'll sign an executive order and say I want an audit of everything, every department down to the last person, down to the last penny. Say I want to know everything about what's been going on. So that will be for me, and then we'll open that up also to the public on what we find, and then we'll start making changes.
Okay. And you've been going around. I know you've been going around doing debates because I've seen some of the videos from different areas where these have been happening. So what kind of questions are they asking during the debates? I mean, in other words, do you think it's anything that really matters?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Everybody, the one common theme is, how are you going to diversify the economy?
Right, yeah.
Because everybody's worried that the fossil fuel industry is seen its day. And what I tell everybody is that, number one, the fossil fuel industry has not seen its day.
Yeah. We got many
decades worth of fossil fuels left. the coal industry is probably never going to reach the high that it did, but it's still a substantial market. And we're going to continue to rely on the fossil fuel industry to provide tax revenue for the state.
Okay, but this gets back to, and you and I have talked about this before on air and off air. So is it the government's job or the governor's job to diversify the economy in the state of Wyoming across the nation?
Well, I think that the structure needs to be set up so that it can diversify, and that's the idea behind the state bank, is that we bring all that money that we're using on Wall Street and invest it back into Wyoming.
Okay, let's get over to the phones real quick here. By the way, if you have a question for Rex Rammel, he's running for governor of the state of Wyoming, Constitution Party. Phone number 632-6500. This is Glenn. Who's on the phone?
Good morning, Glenn. This is Rick out in the big city of Rawlins.
Yes, sir.
That state bank that Rex was talking about, is he just going to limit it to, the state people, or is it going to be corporations or individuals like me that want to expand or start a business? That's
a real good question.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Everybody. Anybody that wants to be in business, the business has to be in Wyoming. We don't want money. We don't want a company in Wyoming taking Wyoming money and then sending it to Colorado or something like that. So as long as it's a legitimate business in the state of Wyoming, and they will have to meet some lending criteria. We're not just going to lend money out for any old thing. They're going to have to repay the money. There will be a probably low interest. It will go through the banks that are already in existence, with the exception of one bank.
Yeah,
Bank of the West is not going to be real favorable in my eyes. But it will just be for businesses in Wyoming. Anybody can apply for it, and there's going to be plenty of money. I estimate $10 to $20 billion we could bring back from Wall Street and invest it into the economy of Wyoming.
Rex Rammel's my guest. He's running for governor of the state of Wyoming on the Constitution Party ticket. Next phone call's lined up, ready to go. If you have a question for him, 632-6500 is the phone number. This is Glenn. Who's on the phone?
This is Joe in Laramie.
Yes, sir.
Well, Rex, I'm really glad to hear you again. I heard you right after the election. Then I didn't hear anything. I got worried. I understand. I'm a big supporter. Was a big supporter. Still a big supporter of Taylor Haynes, and I'm definitely voting for you come hell or high water. I just hope the rest of the folks that didn't vote for Gordon smarten up, stop splitting the vote, and ending up with the worst of all possibilities. What is your background in profession or education? I don't know that much about you other than some of the stances you take.
Well, I appreciate the question and appreciate the support. And I have all admiration for Taylor Haynes in the world. He's a good man, and hopefully he'll still be able to serve Wyoming in the future. If I'm elected governor, we'll certainly use his wisdom and experience to some extent. I'm a veterinarian from Rock Springs. Grew up over by Yellowstone National Park. My family actually settled in that area in the late 1800s. So we're one of the original families to the west. And anybody, I appreciate you bringing that up. Anybody that wants to know about me, I've got a website. It's just my name, rexrammel.com. You can learn all kinds of things about me and all the issues. And I've got a really good family. I've been married to the same woman for 35 years. She still puts up with me. And
see, that last part is hard to believe.
That is a little hard to believe, especially since I've been trying to get elected for 16 years. I've run some really big races, run for the U.S. Senate and governor when I lived in Idaho. And just 2 years ago, I ran for U.S. House and now governor of Wyoming. I told my family, I said, I wonder how many guys have actually run for governor in 2 different states. I said, I may be the only one. But I grew up on the Wyoming-Idaho line, and so I feel like either state is home. And I feel comfortable with the people of Wyoming. Everybody's been very, very polite to me, and we've got a lot more support out there than people even realize. There's a lot of Republicans that are going to vote for me, but not too many of them that want to buck the Republican Party.
There's the thing that I think
they're a little scared to show their face, but there's a lot of them out there that are going to vote Rammel.
There are those that are just going to be afraid of splitting the vote, and we wind up with a Democrat.
Well, There's some of those guys,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of Republicans that I talk to. Some of them are not ashamed to say, hey, we're not voting Republican this time.
Okay.
But some of the bigger names that are supporting me in the Republican Party, they're telling me, Rex, you got our support, but we cannot come out publicly and say it.
Okay. Let me jump to the next call here. This is Glenn, who's on the phone with us.
Hey, Glenn, Joe.
Yes.
Yes, sir, Mr. Rammel. How do you feel about what's happened with private property rights in several instances here? You know, and you don't really, I don't feel like you really own your property. They tax us to death and want to raise more taxes. And, you know, there's been some incidences where private property rights have just been stepped all over. I'd like to hear you comment on that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you. There's a report out there called the Rich States, Poor States Report. And I wasn't totally shocked to find out that according to this report, and it's a credible report by Art Lather's group, he said that Wyoming's property tax burden, you know, property tax as a percentage of our personal income, is 8th highest in the United States.
Whoa.
And I said, you know what? It feels like it. In a state where there's no income tax, but we have a large government. In fact, he states our government's the largest per our population in the United States.
That I have heard, yeah.
So the only way that could happen is secret taxation. I don't know that secret's the correct word, but the property tax burden is so high, it offsets what they would make with income tax.
Right.
We're taxed about as high as any other state as far as that goes. So I actually have a plan, and I would like to see the property tax burden reduced. And the way we do that is there's $1 billion sitting out on public lands that I would like to see the state take over. And I think that $1 billion is plenty of money to manage the land and offset some of the property tax burden at the county level. So some of those taxes need to come down, and I am a property rights hawk, believe me.
Rex Rammel's my guest. He's running for governor, state of Wyoming, on the Constitution Party ticket. Your phone calls are welcome, 632-6500. I'm going to ask you more about taxation and budget coming up next. AM 650, KGAB.
The Greater Cheyenne Chamber of Commerce Leadership Cheyenne Class of 2017-2018 presents Masquerade, October 27th, 6 to 11 p.m. at the Red Lion Hotel and Conference Center. Come in full costume or mask disguise and participate in the silent auction, photo booth, and costume contest. Proceeds will benefit Broadscale Parks Improvement. For more delicious details and to purchase tickets, visit CheyenneBooball.com. See you there, or not.
Come away with more than you expect with the new 2019 Kia Sorento. I'm AJ Miller for Kia of Cheyenne, and with Kia Sorento, you could leave the competition in the dust with a long list of standard features that are usually optional in more expensive rivals. Some available features include lane keeping assist, wireless charging, 8-speed automatic transmission, and 3-row 7-person seating. Come in today and see all that you can get for the money at Kia of Cheyenne. Call 775-0123 or go to keyofcheyenne.com and we'll make it easy.
What does building a better bank look like? It starts with building Capital One cafes, warm, inviting places that feel nothing like a typical bank, where you can open an account with no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. And you'll always find people ready to help you, not sell you. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One and a member FDIC. Cafes available in select locations. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
What happened? You used to go hours without visiting the bathroom. Now it seems like you're constantly getting up to pee. Listen, the makers of Super Beta Prostate are introducing a new wonder pill, Super Beta Prostate P3 Advanced, with 3 key ingredients that are great for your prostate. To celebrate, your first 30-day supply is free. Pay shipping and handling. Get P3 Advanced free. Call 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360. 1-800-215-9360.
Get the latest Cheyenne and Wyoming news. No subscriptions, no passwords, no paywall at KGAB.com.
8:48 is the time. AM 650, KGAB Radio. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. So if you want to talk to Rex Rammel, Rex Rammel is a candidate for governor of the state of Wyoming on the Constitution Party ticket. phone number is 632-6500. That's 632-6500. I wanted to talk to you. Well, hang on. Calls have priority.
Okay.
This is Glenn. Who's on the phone with us?
This is Dave.
Yes, sir.
Hey, glad you brought up the property tax thing. I happened to be doing some pleasure reading through Title 39 of the Wyoming statutes, which is tax code. And I don't know if I read it right or not, but if you look at 39-11105B11, I believe it is, it says property not subject to taxation. And it says property held for personal or family use, excluding mobile homes, which are registered under statute as vehicle. Well, why would they mention mobile homes if they weren't talking about your home? You know, our houses are not revenue-producing property. It costs us money to live here. It's not like a Walmart or an auto parts store or something. We don't have signs with parking lots and making, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in revenue. And not only that, if someone doesn't pay their property tax, you actually don't own your property, because if they say the county can come and take it if you don't pay the tax. So you have to pay just like they did back in England in the old days.
Well, in fact, let me take what you're saying. Let me take what you're saying and follow up just a little bit, because this comes down to Rex taxes in general. I've been saying for a while that we're so heavily reliant on the state of Wyoming on minerals, coal, gas, and oil, the organic fuels, as they need to be called, not fossil fuels, but organic fuels.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, because there's always a boom bust cycle, and when that boom bust happens, we wind up with a bit of a problem every so often. So the question then, without raising the state income tax, just forget that. How can we diversify the tax structure, spread the pain? And you alluded a little bit to it. There's already some money out there, apparently.
Yeah, there's $1 billion sitting out on public lands that the federal government's taking each year from the state of Wyoming and using it for whatever purposes they want. Somebody was complaining to me about the Pinedale fire. I was saying that if the state would have been in control of the public lands, we would have been able to put that fire out. And they said, well, we don't have enough money to put out those big fires.
Yeah.
And I said, that fire, last I heard, was at like $12.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
The federal government's been taking $1 billion. We could put out quite a few fires.
Yeah, with that kind of money.
Oh yeah, but back to this gentleman's point. I have never liked property tax. It's so un-American that you could tell somebody, if you don't pay what we assess you, we're going to take your home. I'd like to see the property tax absolutely removed. I'm one of those guys. I feel like sales tax is probably the most fair thing.
Okay, having said that, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I mean, I love the idea, but that's a lot of money that took away property taxes that the state of Wyoming wouldn't get. So the strategy for keeping the state from going broke would be what?
Well, remember the property tax, that's mostly local funding.
Okay.
What funds the state? 70% is the severance tax off the fossil fuels plus sales tax and other taxes. So removing the property tax there would have to be adjustments at the county level.
All right.
But I think a lot of that $1 billion could go back into the counties and at least reduce the property tax. And man, if there was a way to eliminate it, I would. I certainly would. But people out there, I hope you know that I am a tax hawk. I just, everything we can do to get away from it. And it's not just raising. If we cut the revenue or the spending side down, then we won't need so much. And if our government's as big as they say it is, which I believe it is, then we've got to audit it and we've got to trim it and we've got to make it efficient. We got to cut departments that don't need the money. And so we reduce the spending side, increase the revenue side. We ought to be able to balance this budget.
Okay. On that note, let me jump over real quick to schools, because we have a school funding problem that falls under the same thing. How do you fix that?
I think that I think money is not the solution, because we pay one of the highest appropriations per student in the entire United States. We're in the top 10, and we've been even higher than that. Mary Throne, every time we get into a debate, she argues that the reason that we're not doing well, and I got to make this point, the achievement scores from the Wyoming schools, K through 12, are not good. the new YTOP proficiency test just came out, and only half the students were proficient. So you can't tell me that throwing more money at it is the answer. The answer is we got to take on some of the models like Utah and some of these other states. They've got school choice out there. They have like 150 charter schools, and they're doing great. Their achievement scores are up. They have the lowest cost per student in the entire United States. And I think we look at those models and we say there are things we got